We are live now. What's up, everybody? This is Steven's story. Today, I have an independent adjuster that is near and dear to me. We started out 7 years ago now together. We got a chance to work several deployments together. We've gotten several of our friends in this business on different deployments together. Jovan has worked with my mom. He
Yep.
knows my mom pretty well, and we've gotten to work with all types of people all over the United States and Canada. So, uh, y'all, this is Jovan Washington. Jovan, welcome. I appreciate you taking the time. It's not going to be a super long interview or anything like that, but I do want to get some of your knowledge and share it with people who want to know more about the business of independent adjusting.
Right.
Yeah. So, if you would tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming an independent insurance adjuster and what drew you into the profession.
So my journey was a little different than most people that get into the business. I started out as an agent. I was an insurance agent for Liberty Mutual. Well, prior to that, I started out as a life insurance agent, and then I moved into property and casualty, which is home and auto sales. I was working for Liberty Mutual. One of my closest friends was an adjuster for Liberty Mutual, and somebody explained or told him about independent adjusting. He called me and told me about it, with the hours. And I was working 50, 60 hours a week, anyways, as an agent. The money was good, but it wasn't as good as the adjusting money. So I took the money I was making as an agent when it got my license and jumped into the independent adjusting side.
Wow. I was an agent too. I was an agent too, but
Right.
I didn't go from agent to adjuster like you did. I did agent, bail bondsman. Then I went to adjusting after that. So where you from, man? I know where you from. Everybody else know where you from. We got a wide array of places people are from in this business.
So originally, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Spent the first 30 years of my life in Milwaukee. I moved to Texas when I was 31 years old. I've spent the last 12 years here in Dallas, well, right outside of Dallas, a northern suburb of Dallas. So I'm a Texan at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I spent a little time out in Dallas. I worked out in Dallas just a little bit um, out there. So if you would give us in layman's terms the role of an independent insurance adjuster and how it differs from other roles in the insurance industry.
So the independent adjuster is very similar to just your standard claims adjuster. The independent adjuster is tasked with coming into a provider or an insurance carrier to assist with claim volume, particularly during a major event like a cat, a hurricane, or a major storm or something like that, where the claim volume exceeds the staff that whatever State Farm or whatever that provider has. They'll bring in contractor independent adjusters to come in to assist with that claim volume and help them work those claims and get those claims down. What I mean by working those claims is you'll come in to whatever provider that is. You'll learn a little bit about their process and how they want you to assist with the claims, and then you'll begin handling the claims. As a desk adjuster or an inside adjuster, you'll primarily be in office or work. A lot of it is work from home at this point. Ever since COVID, a lot of things have transitioned to work from home. You'll be tasked with actually assisting the customer with completing their claims process. You'll answer any questions that they might have. You may write an estimate for them depending on your role. You may review the estimate or the bid being submitted by the contractor, completing the work for them. And you'll handle that claim from start to finish. So from the time they initially open it until they receive their payments. If you decide to go the field adjuster route, that's a little bit of a different role. You'll be tasked with going out and actually inspecting the loss, whether it be an auto accident or a damage to a home. You'll be tasked with going out, inspecting that home or inspecting that auto, and then completing your estimate for the insured and handling it from that point.
That's an awesome explanation, man. I appreciate it. I'm always explaining it. So to hear somebody else explain it, I'm like, ooh, because it's a mouthful.
It is. It's a lot.
It's a mouthful to explain what it is we do for a living. I think that even in how Jovan explained it, until you do it, it don't really make sense.
You really can't put it all together until you actually get hands on.
Yeah, because it's still like if you don't have a reference point for claims adjusting, it's still like, so what do we do? Right. But is what he said. And we're not going to tarry on that one too long because I want to get into some more of the funner parts of this business. What do you find most rewarding about helping people navigate? Well, really, about what do you find most rewarding about helping people as you handle claims? And what are some misconceptions? What are some common misconceptions people have about our job?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, the actual assisting of the customer is what you find most, or what I find most rewarding. What I've learned in this business is, everyone has to have insurance. You have to have insurance to drive a car, rent an apartment, own a home, things like that. But nobody really understands the insurance contract they have with their insurance company. They don't understand the benefits and the risk of it. They don't understand what's covered and what's not covered. So that entire process of walking a person through and helping them to understand, what's going to be taken care of, how you're going to assist them, particularly, you're dealing with people typically at the worst point in their lives. They've had some kind of major loss. They're in a bad situation, and you're able to assist them with getting out of that situation and get them funds to get back to where they were prior to that loss. The misconceptions, for the most part, is people tend to think it's a customer service type of job. And although customer service is a role you play, that is part of your job, it's so much more than that. Which is why the pay is so much more than that. People see the State Farm commercials, the Jake from State Farm and Flo from Progressive, and they think that what we do is, we sit in an office or we sit in a call center and make, $15, $20 an hour and just answer calls all day. And it's a lot more than that. There's so much more into it than that, particularly on the property side. If you're working property claims and you're helping people with houses, because every loss is different and every policy is different. So there's a huge education part to it, where you're reading the policy and you're learning what's covered, what isn't covered, and assisting the customer with whatever their particular issue is.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm with you on 1,000% on that. I think that um, people can be naive into thinking that they can be quite naive in thinking that it's just customer service, and it's like I wish it was customer service some days
Wish it was that simple.
because reading these policies and having to go look at some photos and squint and zoom in and then go read the policy again and it's an and if and a semicolon and a but or and you like
And then you have the insurer calling you, and then you have their public adjuster and their contractor, and you have 15 people calling you about each claim that you have, and you have 60 different claims that you're working at one time. It's a
mhm.
very complicated process and a very complicated job.
Yeah, and I think another misconception is like this is quite a cerebral job. Like you really have to think.
Yes.
It's a lot of thinking involved in this business, and also thinking like you better be reading and writing pretty well. If you can't read and write, you might want to
You
choose something else.
you better learn to love to read. You have to love to read if you're going to do this job.
I agree because you have to read for understanding and read to be able to explain to somebody else.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have to do that while they're talking to you. Well, a lot of times you do it while somebody's talking to you. You got to
While
read for,
somebody's talking to you.
so it's yeah, I wish it was customer service, essentially. Let's get to the next question. So, in our, me and you, we both started at the same time. So we got to see some different things, some different technologies that have come out over the years. How has technology impacted the field of insurance adjusting over the years? And do you see any emerging trends that are going to shape our future in the industry?
Um, so technology has had a kind of double impact on it. It's had a good benefit and a bad benefit. So with when COVID hit, and everybody was forced to work from home, it pushed a lot of the insurance companies into what we always ask, can we just work from home? Can we do this from home? And they were reluctant to allow us to do that.
Mhm.
COVID kind of forced their hand a bit with it, and now nobody wants to go back. Because instead of paying for these offices and paying these huge electric bills to have 175, 200, 300 adjusters, everybody can just work from home. You can send out a computer and let that person, pay for their own internet, pay for their own electricity, and
Mhm.
just work that way. So, uh, as computer speeds get better, internet speeds get better, that has a great impact on our job. As video conferencing gets better, That impacted our job as well because now we have the ability to, instead of sending out a field adjuster for an auto accident, you can send a customer a link on their phone. They can open the link and they can walk you around in their car. You can kind of build your estimate right there while you're on the line with the customer. So it speeds up the process quite a bit for auto customers. On the property side, drones have been a very big impact.
Mhm.
Um, as a field adjuster, having to climb a two-story roof with that, a 10 pitches, an extremely steep roof, and having to pull out a rope and harness and tie myself to the roof so I can climb this roof. Drones have made it a lot easier to be able to fly a drone and photo the damage without even getting up on the roof. Most insurance companies, particularly the larger providers, have created drone teams, and now they're sending out teams to go just fly their drones and inspect the losses. Where it might take me 20, 30 minutes to do a house, now they can do two or three houses in that same amount of time.
Mhm.
Um, it has benefited us in the sense that it's made our job a lot easier. And the downside to the drone portion of it is that it has also eliminated some of the adjusters and some of the fees that we were able to charge, because I used to be able to charge a little extra for going out and getting on that steep roof and climbing that two-story, three-story roof. Whereas now with the drone, I can't build those same fees. So we lost a little money in that aspect, but it did, make our jobs a little easier.
Mhm. They increase safety too.
Very
When we
much.
got in business, when we got in the business, drones were brand new.
Brand
You know,
new.
a lot of insurance carriers didn't even allow drone footage to be used inside a claim,
Hmm.
and now it is. But I would say the benefit specifically with drones is every year we were hearing about an adjuster breaking a leg, breaking ribs, breaking
Breaking a
back,
back.
breaking backs. From walking off a roof, not paying attention, get on the cell phone, walk backwards,
Hmm.
walk off a roof, for whatever reason. It wouldn't even be a 10 on 12, a steep roof. It'll be just a regular roof.
Regular
People
roof,
not
yeah.
paying attention. You're a brand new adjuster. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. You're taking whatever phone out, boop, and then your season's over.
It's over.
You know, now you got a limp for the rest of your life. you know, and thankfully, drones came out to save a lot of people in that
Hmm.
regard. And I also think um, it allowed field adjusting to be more accessible for a lot of people.
Right.
You know, which is a good thing, I think. I think that there's some, we see different estimating software that comes out, different estimating models that come out. But I think drones are the biggest thing in our industry right now. You hear things about AI and things like that. Um, I think that still remains to be seen.
Right.
Uh, I don't think that AI is going to get rid of an adjusting department.
No. There's it the computations that it will require for an AI software or an AI to make the decisions that we have to make and to review the things that we have to review. Um, I don't think insurance companies are ready to take on that type of cost.
Yeah.
Um, it would be a large cost, and I don't think AI is at that point yet. I think there always will be a human element in adjusting, just because there are so many split second decisions that have to be made. There's so many things
Mhm.
that the human eye has to see. You have to lay eyes on it to really understand what it is and how it needs to be handled.
And sometimes you gotta have some human conversations too.
Very much.
You got to talk to your manager, you got to talk to the insured, and it's going to determine whether we're going to approve it or not.
And the empathy aspect of it, like I said earlier, you're dealing with people who are having the worst experience of their lives.
Hmm.
And they need that reassuring voice. They need that person to say, I know this is a rough time, but I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure we get you taken care of.
Hmm.
Someone's house has been destroyed and they don't have a place to stay. You need to get them in a hotel, or you need to give them an Airbnb. That's something that, they need to hear that voice to be reassured, to know that, hey, somebody's going to take care of me.
I agree, and I agree, and I think that we've done thousands of claims, both of us have, and I couldn't imagine my house getting blown away, and I'm talking to a computer.
Right.
I need to tell somebody the story that just happened. I got to get it out before
Right.
we to the claim and everything, and I think that as we both know, like sometimes it's cathartic for them just to just get it out. for
Mm-hmm.
somebody to hear them. Yo, this is what happened. This is the car wreck. This is the fire. This is the hurricane. This is the hailstorm. This is the windstorm, tornado, whatever, or the flood. They just need to say it so they can begin the process of healing and getting over it, and so we can help them out. Let's get to the next question. So, dealing with insurance claims can be a stressful experience for individuals. What advice do you have for someone going through the process for the first time? So, I guess the question would be really, how do people unwind? How do they deal with the stress of handling all these claims on a day-to-day basis?
When I'm training a new adjuster or someone in general for the business, the one thing that I try to remind them of and I try to get everybody to do is take time for yourself. You have to take time for yourself. You're going to be working 60 hours, 70 hours, 84 hours, depending on what you're doing. Um, you have to find something that you enjoy doing and just do that. We have people that like to play video games. So, when you get off, just play the video game, go out to a movie, go out for a drink, whatever it is that you enjoy, make time to do that. When you get off, you're going to be tired. You're not going to want to do a lot of things. You're not going to want to get on the game. You're not going to want to go to the bar. You're not going to go to the movies, but you have to make that time just to give yourself a chance to just relax and let your mind unwind, particularly if it's an activity that you don't have to put a lot of thought into because you spend so much of your day thinking, your mind is constantly working. Like we talked about earlier, you're doing all this reading, there's always something going on, always something for you to think about. Having that time to where you can just allow your mind to rest and you can kind of zone out and do something that you enjoy, even if it's just watching a movie or watching a TV program or whatever it is that you enjoy, you have to make time on a weekly basis to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm laughing because me and Jovan, we have a lot of stories.
A lot of stories.
We got a lot of stories, and that's neither here nor there for right now. But my thing used to be restaurants. So, yeah, Jovan, you remember that? We used to go to
Yeah.
restaurants all the time, and that was the thing we did to unwind. We'd go try a new spot in whatever city we were in, whatever state we were in, whatever side of the city we was on. And that was kind of how we made it each day. Was like, hey, you saw this place over here, they got this steak over here, they got this fish spot, they got this and that. And it was easy. You spend 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever. And it gives you 2 or 3 hours of socializing before you have to go home and go to sleep and get ready for the next day.
Yep.
Now, I will say now, it's a great way to add 20 pounds.
Quickly add 20 pounds.
We'll definitely add some weight doing that, but
especially with these sweets.
Yo, you remember them donuts in Atlanta?
The donuts. I still have
Yo,
not found a place with donuts that good. Best
y'all,
donuts I've ever had.
listen, they had these. You remember them red velvet donuts?
Yes.
I used to order them for you.
Yeah, we were ordering for the whole team.
Yeah, we ordered like 6 dozen donuts. It was some crazy times, y'all. It's funny what adjusters do when they get a lot of money and they can just spend money on stuff. You just spend $100 on donuts once a
I
week.
think twice about it.
No, like what are we doing? That's such a waste of money. But when you're stressed out, you'll do it. Can you share a memorable or unique experience you've had while working as an independent adjuster? Any interesting stories that stand out?
In all honesty, my first major hurricane experience, working Hurricane Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll take that back. The first storm that I ever worked, when we worked together out in Maryland, that I would say that was Hurricane Michael. It's a very small hurricane, didn't do a lot of damage, but just being in that environment and being in that space for the first time. It was the first cat that we ever worked in. There was
Mm-hmm.
so much that I learned. And I mean, you, myself, and Will, we all met, we all became friends after
Yeah.
that. Clyde and Toxie, they're still people
Yeah.
that, that was 7 years ago. And I still talk to these people to this day. It's still so many things that I learned. That whole initial experience and just learning what it takes to be an adjuster, the type of money, and really seeing firsthand the type of money that can be made. You
Mm-hmm.
and I at that time we were only active. We were making 25 an hour, and we're
Yeah.
sitting there. We're sitting there with people making 37 an hour, but they're doing the exact same thing we are. And you're like, the only thing separating me from $37 is a certificate, a test a 10-question test that I didn't take. I'm going to take
Mhm.
that as soon as we
Oh
get
yeah,
done. I'm going to take that.
yeah, yeah. And we share this experience. So I'm asking him the question. I'm asking the question for y'all. I know these stories. We have a lot of them together, but I think for me, what was so interesting about that was how much excitement and hope was in the room in the day to, in that day to day. People were so excited to come to work. They were so hopeful for what could happen for them in this career. And a lot of those people stuck around over the years,
Hmm.
and made something out of themselves. I was on the younger end. I'm 35 now, but I was in my 20s at that time. And so I was like a baby compared to, some of the people in the room. Like it was some grandma and grandpas in the room. If you,
Yeah.
but
Hey.
yeah, and what I remember, what stuck out to me the most was like being able to buy certain things for the first time, just
Hmm.
like buying a nice lobster dinner for myself. I had never done that before.
Right.
I had never ever done that, and it felt so good to be able to treat myself to something, especially after I had went through a period of like before I was an adjuster, I was struggling. Like I was
Right.
really struggling, and so to go from like 2 3 weeks before like not having nothing to my first couple deployment checks, and like yo, I can really do something with it.
I
Like I
can
got
do
some,
something.
I don't have to be so hand to mouth. I don't have to worry about the next bill that's coming. Uh,
Right.
that was an amazing time. Let's see. Here's a question. I'm skipping a couple of them, but what challenges do independent adjusters commonly face, and how do you overcome them in your day to day work?
So in the day to day work, one of the biggest things is going to be temperament. Again, you're dealing with people who are in a bad situation, and you're dealing. They might be mad. They're experiencing the worst experience of their life, so they may be angry. They may call. They may cuss you out. They may, you never know what mood a person or what situation a person is going to be in. So being able to not take those things personally, to
Mhm.
keep a positive mindset for yourself and not be influenced by the temperament of another person, and just say, hey, I understand this is a bad experience for you. I understand that you're struggling. I understand you're having this loss, but I need you to take a step back so that I can help you. I'll be
Mhm.
glad to listen to you. I can let you vent. I can let you tell me about what's going on, but I also need you to be respectful of me, and I'll be respectful of you. In the world that we live in today, so many people are quick to clap back. You'll lose that way, particularly in this business, because there is that customer service portion that we talked about. Although
Mhm.
your job isn't to be a customer service, you're not a customer service agent, but there is a customer service portion. You do have to understand how to talk to people and how to address that. And that, again, you're talking to 50, 60, 70, 80 different people on any given day. So
Mhm.
you have to be able to just keep your composure, even when somebody is upset. Even though you may have to take 5 or 10 minutes to step away from your desk or step away from your vehicle or whatever, wherever you're working at. Take a step back, take a breather, and come back to it. But just to be able to keep your mind refreshed and keep yourself refreshed to where you're not allowing what the last customer or the last contractor said to you affect how you handle the next customer, or even how you address that claim. Because you may be dealing with a contractor who's a jerk, and now to yourself, you're like, well, I'm not going to approve this claim. And now you
Mhm.
may end up in some type of legal trouble, or in hot water, because you've done something that you weren't supposed to do. You didn't handle that claim professionally. You didn't handle that claim correctly. You didn't pay for something that you needed to pay for, and now you're going to court because you're being sued.
And you're getting deposed, and they're gonna look at your file notes, and they're gonna run all the audio on those phone calls,
Right.
and now it's
And
about to get
have
ugly.
it's go real quick. It's gonna get ugly real quick for you.
It'll get super ugly. I think another thing I would add to that outside of temperament is production.
Production is very important.
That's not something you and I struggle with, but I find that newer adjusters struggle with that, and people who have a harder time with technology in general,
Hmm.
um, they struggle with production in the day to day. I find they're good people. They're well meaning. They want to be hard workers, but they get caught in just the minutia of claims, and they'll get behind and they'll be towards the back of the pack and they'll get released because they have low
Right.
production. Yeah.
Time management is very key to that. You have to know how to manage your time, and you have to know how to manage your desk. If you cannot be organized, you don't have to be an organized person to start, but you have to learn to be organized. If you're not organized in this business, if you don't practice time management, you won't be able to produce. You won't be able to get the claim volume done in the way that they're requesting, just because you'll spend too much time on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to get your time management down, because, as you stated, production is important. Being in the back of the pack will get you released every time, and it'll get you released quickly.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. I hear a lot of people over the years. I say, well, the deployment ended. No, the deployment didn't end. You got fired.
You got released.
You got released. That's what happened. The deployment didn't end because if you weren't the last person there, that means the deployment didn't end.
Right.
If there's still people there, the
It's still
deployment ended.
going.
It's still going. You just got released. But I will say, like over the years, as an adjuster, I remember myself to be quite disorganized. Not just as an adjuster, but in my personal life, I was quite disorganized. But I also noticed as I progressed as an adjuster, my physical desk got more organized, but
Right.
then everything else got organized.
Hmm.
I just before I knew it, my house, y'all not in my home right now. I got 3 beds in my house. All the beds are made. All my clothes are hung up correctly. All my dishes, everything is, or even in my desk right now, all my books are stacked, properly. It's not a bunch of junk around, and that's how we perform at a high level in this business. Because um, Jovan, you know this, it is mentally taxing, and just having all these little pads around can confuse you.
Hmm.
And that could be the difference between you handling 10 claims in a day and you handling 6 claims in a day because you can't find where your stuff is,
Right.
you know? So I know I asked you the question. I'm just piggybacking, you know, because I've seen unorganized adjusters get 3 weeks into a deployment and they got to find 5 deployments a year to make ends meet when we can do one or two, and that's
Right.
it, you know? Um, so this is gonna be my last question for you. No, I got, yeah, this is my last one. For those who might be considering a career in insurance adjusting, what skills and qualities do you think are essential for success in this field?
Um, I'll start with what I feel like is the most important aspect of this business: relationship building. You have to be able to build relationships. Relationships can be the difference between working once a year and working 5 times a year. Relationships will keep you working, because if you build good relationships and you're good at your job, people will reach out to you. People will call you and say, "Hey, this is going on. Call this company. We want to bring you on." Again, the organization piece, being organized, your desktop, your desk, how you handle your claims, being, keeping a calendar, keeping track of time, um, being organized will put you far above. And like you mentioned, it'll transcend into your day-to-day life. It'll transcend work, and move its way into your day-to-day life, and make your home life better. Um, the mentality, you have to be mentally strong. There are ups and downs in this business. There are slow times, there are peaks and valleys, like with anything else. You have to be able to be mentally strong to be able to manage your money correctly, to save your money, to get you through those valleys, and also to not spend a ton of money when you're at those peaks. You have to be mentally strong to stay in the business. If you have a month or 2 months or 3 months where you go without getting any calls, there's nothing going on. It's easy for a person to give up, but you have to stay mentally strong. You have to push through that, because you may not work for 3 months, but then you may work for the next year and a half and make more money than you've ever made in your life, and completely change your life and the lives of your family. Those are things that I feel like are very key to being successful in this business. And I think if you can master those things, the mental toughness, the money management piece, the relationship building, and the organization, I think if you can master those things, you can be successful as an adjuster.
I completely agree with you, man. I'm in full agreement. We're at the 30-minute mark. I wanted to keep it short because I want to be able to allow people to be able to get as much as they can from this without us like really
Hmm.
drawing out everything. Guys, me and Jovan know each other really well. We worked together right across from each other for like a year and a half, in several, different states and everything. So we know each other really well. So I'm not going to bore y'all with our, tales of grandeur,
Don't don't incriminate yourself, Steve.
Right. I'm gonna keep it professional. But one thing I would say, and we'll kind of wrap this up. Back to what Jovan was saying was that I think that another skill I would add to it is commitment to excellence. You have to commit and say, not only am I going to be in this business, I'm going to get good at it.
Hmm.
I'm going to commit to being good at this business. We had a manager named Rod. Rod was this country guy out of Mississippi. He was walking around with big old boots on and jeans and a big
I'm lost in
oversized.
the tobacco.
You know what I'm saying? Just like looking like a crazy man every day. But he knew ECS, which is Enterprise Claims System, which is a claims environment for State Farm. He knew it better than all of us. He didn't even have to look at a computer screen. He could just be like, yeah, go here, click here, and go there, and you got it. And I had a lot of conversations with him one-on-one. And he essentially told me, he was like, look, if you want to be in this business and make some money in it, you're going to have to be excellent at it. So that's going to be every day, reviewing your policy, being on time. You can't be out late at night. You can't even watch TV late at night. You have to go to bed. Okay. I can't tell you how many adjusters got fired because they were always sleepy first thing in the morning. They would make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Or
be late.
Or be late. Simple stuff like being late a couple, 3, 4 times, you're out of there. You're going to get on deployments where there's zero tolerance for being late. They're paying you $400 a day, $500 a day, $600 a day. Show up at 7 o'clock. Okay. If you can't clock in by 7 a.m., you do that a couple times, we'll see you later. We got deployments we've been on. I'll give you all a story. It was a deployment me and Jovan was on in Atlanta. We had an amazing adjuster on there. He was actually leading our team in production. And 2 things happened and he got fired. One, he came in with flip-flops one day. Unacceptable. That's outside of the code of conduct for that deployment. Men can't wear sandals to work.
Mm-hmm.
He had flip-flops on. First strike. They don't get 3 strikes now. You only get 2 strikes. His second strike, he was watching Netflix on his cell phone while he worked.
Yep.
You know exactly. You remember this story.
Yeah.
The manager sat and watched him watch Netflix for 5 minutes, tapped him on the shoulder, meet me in the lobby. That's it. Great adjuster. Can't follow the rules.
Not following the rules will get you banned. You'll get what we call DNR'd or do not rehire.
Do not rehire. Yeah. And so, y'all, we make a lot of money. Okay. We have a lot of fun doing that. But there are some rules. I've been on deployments where there's cameras in the rooms. Like y'all see these corners right here. I've been in deployments where they had cameras in every corner of the room. If they catch you on your cell phone, that's it. You're out of there. Mm-hmm. They don't play. Some deployments you can't have an Apple Watch. I've been on deployments, they lock up your phone. That's just it. Your phone's locked up for the rest of the day. If you're gonna make, $10, $15, $20,000 a day, a month, you're gonna have some rules in place. Right. Follow that, commit to being excellent, and you're gonna be fine. Jovan, you got anything else you want to say to wrap this up?
No, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and letting me talk to some of your students and some of your adjusters. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll be glad to do it for you.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna leave Jovan's social media in the description. I appreciate it. This is a friend of mine. Okay, this is a real friend of mine. We came in together, bright out in bushy tail, talking about the license we was gonna get, and we started in auto. We're gonna switch to property one day, and we're gonna get out here in the field. That's where the real money at. And we got to do it. We got to do all those things.
Do all of it.
And so it's been good. Well, look, y'all, we're at 35 minutes. That is the end of our interview for the day. and I'll see you on the next one.